So in order to have a decline in house prices, you need to have a decline in the economy. So I normally start off these videos just looking at the headline figures for the UK economy. So the ONS here from the UK government. So GDP currently is 0.7%, so it's kind of okay. But that's only January to March 2025, so it's quarter on quarter. However, that's above zero. And the inflation rate, so this is a 12-month year-on-year inflation rate, is currently at 4%. That's actually quite high. And the unemployment rate currently at 4.6%. Let's take a quick look at that. So that's actually trending up at the moment. So it's trending in the wrong direction, really. It's not at problem levels, but heading in the wrong direction here. This is over the past 10 years, about 2015. So that's one to keep an eye on. If you see that going up, that could be a problem for house prices. But at the moment, it's kind of okay. So just looking at these figures again, GDP annual. This is a different website here. Just showing a trend. So she's going back to 2000, just about 10 years again. So it's sort of returned to kind of normal levels, about 1 to 1.5% per quarter. So that's looking okay. So just GDP is looking fine, and inflation. So inflation, again, you can see this actually sort of jumped up recently in the past 2 months. So I have to see if that continues. So if we switch to 10 years here, you can see it's actually heading in the wrong direction as well. So why is that bad for house prices? That means that the actual real inflation adjusted value of house prices are going down. So this was the 2022 inflation scare after COVID. I don't think we're going to get back to those levels, but there may be some problems with tariffs, etc., pushing prices up. So we'll have to see if that inflation increase here continues in 2025. As I say, that's heading in the wrong direction at the moment as well. And then to start looking at house prices, then the Office for Budget Responsibility, UK government, they have this sort of forecast where they crunch quite a lot of data for house prices and give a sort of forecast based on their statistical analysis. So this is only goes up to Q4 2024, so the end of last year. So prices were going up, the year-on-year change going up to about 3 to 4%. And then the blue part here is the forecast, which is they see is going down, which is probably initially going down, probably because of the stamp duty, first-time buyers paying stamp duty. And then after that, pretty anemic growth. So this goes up to pretty much to 2030. So they see not much growth over and above 2 to 2.5%, going right up to that point, which is interesting. So they think the days of high house price growth are gone. Might be right. And then in terms of the transactions, then so that's house prices and property transactions, which are one of the main measures of the health in the housing market. If there's no property transactions or lack of property transactions, then there's a problem. So they see that going down up to the sort of mid to Q2, Q3 for 2025. Again, probably due to the changes in stamp duty, and then magically in their forecast going up to the moon again. Although, as I say, with like not any sort of real house price growth, but they see the property transactions suddenly shooting up again. I'm not sure why that is, because as you see, this is going back to 2011. Why transactions are suddenly going to start rocketing up above these levels, I'm not quite sure. We'll have to wait and see if that materializes or not. whether maybe it's going to be more like this rather than like this. And this is why both for government sites and also the big lenders, Halifax and Nationwide, you probably have to take what they say with a pinch of salt, because they've both got vested interest. The government want to say that the housing market's going to be fine. The big lenders are going to say to everyone that the housing market's going to be fine. It's not necessarily true. And I've got the final data source paints a different picture. So that's Office of Budget Responsibility. Transactions they think are going to be okay. So like I say, we'll see if we do get this dip, and then we do get this rise from that. Remains to be seen. Mortgage approvals, UK mortgage approvals. So that if we just switch to the 1 year, so this was again the dip in after the so for mortgage approvals then in April 2025, you see a sort of dip from the stamp duty being brought in for first-time buyers, and then it seems to have recovered to relatively normal levels. Let's go to 10-year again. So that sort of going back to 2016, 65, 66, 65. I mean, this is like 66 before the dip here. And then we've gone back up to 63. So the stamp duty changes, at least initially, don't seem to have made an awful lot of difference to the mortgage approvals, at least. And then going on to the Halifax and Nationwide HPI, the big HPI indexes. So this is May 2025, it was 3.5% year on year, just nationwide. And June 2025, it's gone down to 2.1. So it's actually quite a big sort of decline in terms of the price growth. I mean, it's still in positive territory, but that is heading down as well. And again, that's nominal, so you've got like increased inflation will mean that the valuation, the adjustment in real terms of house price values are lower. So that's quite recent. That's June 2025. Again, the Halifax house price index is up to 7th of July, so that's even more recent. And then they've got an annual change here of 2.5% again, but a quarterly change of 0.3%. So again, with inflation heading up higher recently, then that sort of quarterly change. So that's nominal, and then you've got higher inflation on top of that. So you see a picture here of real term declines, which you don't really see in the headlines. And then the final one I usually look at is what used to be called ACADATA. It's now esurv. All these links are on boombusinvest.com if you want to take a look yourself, and the house prices page at the top, link there. esurv, so ACADATA basically is land registry data, but they apply statistics to account for the lag in the land registry data, because there's quite a big lag in land registry data, which is why I don't even look at it. But they have like their own HPI for England and Wales, which I think is therefore a bit more realistic than, or potentially more realistic than Halifax and Nationwide. So they're saying the tax changes may be less disruptive than expected, and as we've seen, that might be the case. The north is moving ahead in terms of house price growth of the south, which is dragging its heels. And then again, they've got a link here. So for each month date, so this is May 2025. So you can get to that from their homepage here, or their house price index page, the esurv page there. And so this one, which I believe is more sort of probably more realistic, because it's not just Halifax and Nationwide is just mortgage approvals, mortgage-based transactions, whereas the Land Registry obviously accounting for mortgage and cash, effectively cash transactions or non-mortgage transactions. And so this HPI, this house price index, then is showing a decline of 1.4% year on year, not an increase of 2.5%. So the mortgage approvals don't necessarily show you the full picture, whereas this is more of a full picture of where house prices are actually heading, all house prices in the UK, and we've got a decline of 1.4%. And again, with the increase in inflation we're seeing, so that's nominal, that's actual values, and then that would be adjusted down in real terms because of the increase in inflation. So I mean that's really the takeaway here. In the mainstream financial press, they'll try and paint this picture that house prices always go up. That's not necessarily the case. And as we're seeing now, what with problems with coming off of the stamp duty increases for first-time buyers, I think there will be some headwinds here for the UK housing market. And we just have to see if that continues. That would be good for if you're buying. You should be able to put in good offers. Not so good if you're selling. That's currently where I think house prices are heading in July 2025. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to help out the channel, and see you in the next month's HPI video.